First thing we'll do is we'll talk about the business benefits of moving from on-premise to the cloud. And when we talk about the business benefits, we'll talk about the financial benefits versus user benefits. So we'll go over a little bit of that. We'll talk about system changes, and as far as changes from on-prem versus on the cloud. And then we'll talk a little bit about impacts on your IT team. And at the very end, as Sabrina said, we'll leave some time for questions. And with that, let's get started with our agenda for today. So these are just some of the business benefits of a cloud-hosted CRM that we've come up with, and I decided to break them down into financial benefits and user benefits. So we'll talk about each of these a little bit individually. So if we talk about the financial benefits, one of the biggest things that we see is that there's less of an infrastructure cost. Because you're in the cloud, you don't have the hardware, the backups, the maintenance, patches, and security responsibilities that you do have with an on-prem system that you need to maintain all of that. With a cloud-hosted version, Microsoft takes care of all that. So you should see a reduction in your cost of infrastructure. And that leads to a refocus of your resources, which can also be a financial benefit because your IT staff, you can usually see a reduction in IT staff possibly, or even just be able to refocus those resources, the personnel and hardware, even hardware, software, you can refocus some of that to other high priority projects. So we see that as a financial benefit. And the next one on our list, the customer retention. This one's might be a reach, and some people might say, well, that's kind of a reach, Susan, but we see some financial benefit in customer retention just from the fact that it costs less to sell to an existing customer than to a new customer. And moving to the cloud gives you access to the newest features and usability that support more efficient and effective customer management. And this should make it easier for your staff to more effectively maintain, grow, and cross-sell and upsell even to your existing customers. So we feel like customer retention is a big financial benefit. Next on our list then is security. Since your security is managed by Microsoft, you can be sure that your data is secure and it's accessible when you need it. You shouldn't have any downtime or anything like that. And just think about what it costs you if you have a virus on your system, or you get hacked, or you've had a data breach of some kind. You can have downtime where your users can't even get into the system. So the cost of downtime like that can be really high. And with being in the cloud, Microsoft manages your security. And think about all the resources that Microsoft has that are available to make their system as secure as it can be. So Microsoft monitors your system and takes care of all that, which we feel is a big savings in time and resources. And the last one on my financial benefits here is that it's affordable. And this kind of ties back into the first one where we have less infrastructure, so you have less of an investment in hardware and software. And with the online in the cloud version, you're paying a monthly fee instead of an upfront license cost plus maintenance fees. So we think that you should see a financial benefit there as well. So let's move on then and talk about some of the user benefits that we see. And the first one that I have on my list here today is the Outlook app. So in the cloud version, you have, I think on-prem, you have access to the Outlook app as well, but it's a lightweight, thin client. It's much faster. and it has incorporated the artificial intelligence with it, which is not available in the on-prem version. So artificial intelligence, it has email recommendations, it has the ability in the Outlook app to track email opens and clicks, kind of like some of your marketing programs do, like Click Dimension and stuff like that. You get the ability to do that with the Outlook app. The next thing that I have for a user benefit is the ease of access. If you have an internet connection, basically you are connected, you can get connected to your online CRM system from any device, anywhere, and you also have offline capabilities as well, which you have to set up, but they're available to you. So, and I think that leads right into our user benefits of increased productivity and collaboration. With these easy to use tools that are accessible from anywhere, online or offline, your users have the ability to connect and share relative data with customers and with peers. And I think that all feeds back to the financial benefit that you talked about earlier, that I talked about earlier with customer retention. So if your users are more productive and more collaborative, they should be helping to retain those customers. And the last one on my list here then for the user benefits is Power BI. With the online version, you have easy access for your users. By using connectors, you can pull in data from Power BI, and you can embed those Power BI dashboards that you might already have set up right into your CRM dashboards. And this can help make your CRM kind of a one-stop shop for all your data that you need to manage all of your customer information. So those are some of the business benefits, financial and user, that we see that we kind of wanted to highlight today. So we will move on next then to some of the system changes that we see. And we'll do kind of an on-premise versus cloud on this one. With an on-premise system, your company has to maintain and support all that hardware and infrastructure that we talked about before. And when you're in the cloud, Microsoft takes over all of that. So that's one of the big changes that you would see. On the next point, on-premise, common data service is not available at this time. And with the cloud, you have access to the common data service, which, common data service allows your applications to share a common data source, and it can eliminate the need for integrations that are costly and time-consuming to maintain. So maybe I should have put that up in my financials as well, but that's one of the benefits we see as well. So, and integrations, yeah, like I said, can be costly to maintain, and with the access to the common data service, you can join programs a lot easier. Next on my list here is access to the SQL database. So when you're on-premise, you have access to that SQL database, whereas when you go to the cloud, you have access to the common data service instead. And you also have access to non-developer tools like Flow and Power Apps. And these can open a world of possibilities, and make your CRM program even more user-friendly by using Flow and Power Apps. The next point on my list for on-premise versus the cloud is manual upgrades. When you're on-premise, your company is responsible for all of the upgrades, for getting you to the newest version, for maintaining your sandbox and all of that. And with with the cloud, you get automatic updates. And some people will say, well, that's not such a benefit. I have to upgrade when they want us to upgrade. But we haven't seen too many problems with the automatic updates. As long as you get them in your sandbox first, make sure they're looking good, and then when the change rolls out automatically, doesn't seem to cause too many problems. The other thing with on-premise as far as system changes go is that when you're on-premise, you're kind of last to get the new features. The new features that Microsoft pushes out to the cloud seem to, there's usually quite a delay in those getting to on-premise, if they even get to on-premise. So we see that as a big system change. You get access to all the new features right away when you're up in the cloud. We also see a lot more flexibility with your cloud version, that it's easier to create the solution that you want to create. There's some access to apps and stuff like that that you can use to create a version that's unique to you. So those are some of the system changes that we've identified. And next then we're going to talk about impacts to your IT team. And this might seem a little bit redundant here at the end where we talk about how it impacts your IT team, but these automatic updates, they can help your IT staff by reducing the time and effort of costly upgrades. We all know how long those upgrades can take. Sometimes they can be difficult and challenging. So also with that comes with the automatic updates. So you see again that reduction in staff that you might be able to have, or at least a refocusing of staff to move into other things, since they don't have to spend so much time on updates and software maintenance, things like that. Also, I wanted to note here on impacts to the IT team too, is that it's easy to activate and deploy new users, where sometimes in an on-prem system, adding new users means that you might have to upgrade your hardware. You might have to add a lot of different things to make it usable for adding 10, 15, 20 new users. With CRM Online, that process to add new users is a lot easier. Less training for your IT team. There shouldn't be any need to train your IT team on how to install an on-prem version, even how to run CRM, unless you're using it for case management or something like that. You could have less training for your IT staff since they don't have to use CRM or no CRM as well. And the last item on my list as far as impacts to the IT team is that it's supported by Microsoft. If you have trouble with a solution upgrade or something like that, or any of your upgrades, Microsoft's available to help. And I think then that ends the items that I have. We talked about the business benefits, both financial and user. We talked about system changes on-prem versus the cloud, and possible impacts to your IT team that a move from on-prem to the cloud could mean for your business.